Choose life or choose death. I imagine myself in a game show staring at two doors. One door leads to life, the other door leads to death. Death is staring you right in the face. It's lit up with neon lights, appealing to the eye. It smells like that apple cinnamon candle that everyone seems to love so much. Yet there it stands, lonely and alone. Life, on the other hand, is far away. The door is simple looking, yet almost glowing in warmth. In order to enter, you have to pass many tests and follow many rules, yet there are signs of positivity following you along the way. It might not be the easiest choice, but once you are in, you are sure to be filled with brisket, soufganiot, and a community filled with tradition and shared experience. Choose life or choose death. In today's Torah reading, we find ourselves in the book of Deuteronomy, the last of the 5 books, and largely a retelling of the Exodus and the 40 years of wandering in the desert through the perspective of Moses. In an epic proclamation towards the end of Moses' life, Moses calls on all of the Israelites to gather at the base of Mount Sinai for one last covenantal declaration. Moses called upon the entire tribe, the leaders, the elders, and the officials, the woodcutters and the water drawers, the strangers among us, and those that have been with us since the beginning. Moses is calling upon every single man, woman, and child to come together and to pledge one last time to follow the words of God, to choose life or to choose death. Each year, we reread the Torah and try to imagine ourselves in the moment, as if the Torah is speaking to us now. And with Yom Kippur upon us, we use this as an opportunity for ourselves to reevaluate the covenant that our people have made with God so long ago. Moses lays this tradition out for us when he declares, "And not with you alone do I make this covenant and this oath, but with each one who stands here among us this day, in the presence of Adonai our God, and with each one who is not here among us this day." Not only is this covenant for the Israelites, but it is for all generations to follow. Every year, the world Jewish community gathers together on Yom Kippur as if they were standing on the base of Mount Sinai. So here we are on Yom Kippur, the holiest of holy days, the one day a year when we all make it a priority to be here, to reconnect with our community, to reconnect with our Judaism, and to reconnect with ourselves. We gather together not only for personal reflection, but also to reaffirm our covenant as a Jewish people. Every year, we are on the stage with Bob Barker, staring at these 2 doors and asking ourselves, is this the year that we are going to choose life, or is this the year that we're going to choose death? As Reformed Judaism is all about making informed decisions, it's important for us to take a look at what exactly this statement means. What does it mean to choose life or to choose death? Moses states that by choosing life, we are choosing to follow God's commandments. We are choosing to love Adonai our God with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all of our might. That was our biblical covenant. Choose life, choose our tradition, choose our law and our God, and if you choose to join us, you will bring forward life not only to yourself, but to every generation that follows. Choose life to continue the journey that we have started when we left Egypt. The Haftarah portion we read this morning from the book of Isaiah speaks of choosing life as gimilut chasadim, acts of loving kindness, feeding the hungry, giving hospitality to the stranger. Isaiah sees choosing life as doing good deeds. Isaiah talks about bringing light from the darkness, about choosing to do good, and with this, God will be with you. Isaiah cries to his people that fasting is not enough. Choosing life isn't simply to fast, to follow the laws of God, but to do so with kavanah, with intention, and with purpose. This is our challenge for the year ahead, to find ways to make our covenant relevant and meaningful to our times. It won't be easy, but nothing has ever been easy for us within our Jewish tradition. Our tradition is full of tests of faith. We just read on Rosh Hashanah about the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, and the test that both Abraham and Isaac had to go through before making their covenant with God. There is a midrash about God lifting up Mount Sinai and hanging it over the heads of the Israelites while the Jewish people were making their covenant with God. This has commonly been interpreted as God holding the Jewish people hostage, as if they were forced to agree to all of God's will. However, I think it is important for us to see it in a different light. In this time of great fear, the Israelites chose to stick together. They chose to have faith in God and chose to believe that their God, the God that had gotten them so far up until this point, wasn't just going to drop a mountain on them. They knew it was a test. And while many may have been discouraged or angry about this test, they chose to stick it out as one community and took that leap of faith. Now, today, perhaps the stakes aren't as high as they were for Abraham and Isaac and Moses. But our choice today involves more free will to either go through door 1 or go through door 2. Maimonides, the great medieval rabbi, teaches us free will is granted to all people. If we desire to turn to the path of good and be righteous, the choice is ours. And should we desire to turn to the path of evil and be wicked, the choice is also ours. There is no one who compiles us, who sentences us, or who leads us toward either of these two paths. Rather, all persons, at their own initiative and decision, turn to the path that they desire. In Moses' address to the Israelites, he also brings out the concept of free will. Moses states, "For this mitzvah, which I command you this day, is neither beyond you nor far away. It is not in heaven, causing you to say, 'Who will go up to the heaven on our behalf? Get it for us and let us hear it, that we may do it.' No, this choice is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, and that you can surely do it." Not only does Moses say that this choice is ours, and ours alone to make, but he is also displaying his utmost confidence in us, that we will make the right choice. He is our greatest cheerleader as we contemplate the choice before us. The choice of life or death is constantly evolving with our times. We have to ask ourselves, what does it mean to be a part of the covenant today? How can we find a balance of affirming our covenant in today's world without abandoning the rich tradition that stands behind it? Rabbi Rifat Sonsino so beautifully states, "Those of us who take Judaism seriously and are concerned about its future are always struggling to define its implications for our time. Tradition, I maintain, has a hold on us and has certain requirements and expectations. Therefore, we need to find the best way to keep its spirit alive, through study, practice, and an outlook on life that balances the needs of our heart as well as the mind. This is the year of our choosing life moment. This year, our choosing life moment needs to be choose Judaism. How deep of connection do you want to create with our Jewish tradition this year? In a world where we are constantly being pulled in a million different directions, how can we choose to bring more Judaism into our daily lives? We all need to ask ourselves, how can I create a covenant that connects with our Jewish tradition and is still meaningful to me? Is it taking 30 minutes out of our busy week to read the weekly Torah portion and try to imagine ourselves in that week's narrative? Is it establishing a family tradition of having a Shabbat meal every Friday night? How can we take the values ingrained in our tradition, feeding the hungry, welcoming the stranger, being a light unto our nations, and truly embody the spirit of Judaism and our Jewish tradition in everything that we are doing? There are so many entry points to our tradition, and I welcome and encourage conversations with all of you about where your entries lie and how you can perform your personal covenant with our tradition and the Jewish people. As we sit here tonight, as one community, standing at the base of our Mount Sinai with Congregation B'nai David, we are asked to once again reaffirm our covenant and to make a choice. Do we want to choose life, or do we want to choose death? Do we want to take one step in and be Jewish when it suits us best, or do we want to commit to our tradition, recreate our covenant in the 21st century, and create a vibrant, engaging, and meaningful Jewish existence for our individual self and for us as a greater community? The choice is ours, and ours alone. But just as Moses had confidence in us, I surely know that we will choose life as well. Gemar Chativa Tova.